Times are different, man. Times are different. It's 2022 now. 2022 is definitely different. Imagine 2012. 2012, we thought that 2012 was a different iPhone आयो अस्ति iPhone को हेर्दै थिएँ कि हुन्छ नि त्यो फर्स्ट iPhone कति $1,000
It's a big thing now. The first edition iPod, the first edition iPhone, all of these things command quite a bit of auction prices these days.
Man, it's crazy, man. I'm going to hold on to a lot of crazy things that I have.
Keep them in mint condition. Put them in like
box with
bubble wrap and everything. Yeah.
Coming back to the conversation that I heard about with Joe and Mark Zuckerberg. You know? Mark Zuckerberg has said some crazy things that's going to happen down the road in social media. You know? And one of the things that you was talking about is his defense budget. Facebook defense budget, is worth like billion. It was crazy number. He is catering to 3.9 billion people. Yeah. Right. Twitter, I'm sure, is almost a couple of...
Well, Elon Musk is challenging in court how many people exactly use Twitter versus how many are bots. But,
what the fuck was that exactly? I got confused.
It's just...
I was ready to come back to Twitter.
You're ready to come back to Twitter if Elon Musk bought.
Fuck yeah, baby. I was so ready. I was so ready to come back to Twitter. Like, I was psyched to come back to Twitter, man. I was like so ready to come back to Twitter. I was like, yeah, baby. Now it's going to be like free. Sorry to say. I like it's a Twitter scenario. Are you still tweeting?
I'm still tweeting. I haven't been I'm most active on Instagram for the last 1-2 years, but Twitter is Twitter. You gotta stay updated on that. Gotta put stuff out on that. So I'm active enough.
What do people say? Like, how do you deal with now, especially now? COVID time, I'm sure it was different. But now, especially now, how do you deal with? Okay, well, of course you're not just gonna go ahead and sit and criticize people. You're definitely gonna go ahead and throw in your own ideas and your own opinions, right? How do you deal with people when they go ahead and like question all the opinions that you have?
I always maintain like a very healthy discourse. If the other side gets disrespectful, then it's like not worth my time, because then I know the person is not interested in having a conversation. The person is only interested in like mudslinging. I have zero interest in mudslinging. It's like and in any case, if I'm raising a point or if I'm trying to make an argument, I've probably thought about it for a while before I go on Twitter and tweet about it. That's a big mistake when you just have a knee-jerk reaction and you put something out, then you got to backpedal, then you're like, oh, I meant this, or I'm not interested in finding myself in that situation. So if I say something publicly, of course, this podcast being an exception because it's a free-flowing conversation. But if I'm putting something out on social media, I've probably done, some kind of thought through, and if it's related to data and numbers, I've checked the data. I don't like to put stuff because a lot of people do tune into my Instagram stories and Twitter for these kind of stuff. Yeah. So if I'm considered a reliable source, even if I didn't want to, I have to respect that, my audience, and then make sure what I'm saying or what I'm sharing is as reliable as possible. Because a lot of people fact check with me in DM. I heard this, and then if it's a big enough issue, I take that and then share it publicly. I do my own research and share it publicly. If it's just a small issue, I DM back and said, no, I talked to so-and-so. Turns out it's not this or whatever, Or I say, oh, thank you for bringing my attention to this. I'm going to do something bigger on that. But for me, it's always that. So I try and not put myself in a position where I have to backtrack or deal with mudslinging. But mudslinging is part of being on social media. You can't, people will come at you no matter what. No matter how, 100% fact consistent you may be or anything,
Yeah, if people are not good, if you don't get backlash, like you're definitely not growing.
Exactly, and it's part of the thing is like to testing, like, are people still listening? Then someone throws a rock at you. Okay, they're listening.
If you love what we are doing, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications. This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios. Thank you very much for watching us on YouTube. Make sure that you also listen to us on Spotify.